New question. The member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
My question is also for the Premier. Last week, the member from Barrie lashed out at small business owners concerned about the impact of a 32% increase in the minimum wage. She told business owners that they shouldn't be operating if they can't afford it. A member of this government thinks struggling business owners should just shut up and close their doors. Speaker, is that the official position of this government, or will the Premier insist the member from Barrie apologize to all struggling business owners across this province?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you, Premier.
Mr. Speaker, and as the member up.
This could be the beginning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And as the member opposite knows, I was not here last week. I was actually overseas, Mr. Speaker, in China and Hong Kong and Vietnam, Mr. Speaker. Over $2 billion worth of economic activity. Over 2,000 new jobs, Mr. Speaker, for Ontario. So it was a very successful trade mission. I am, however, very happy to be back to answer the member opposite's question and to say that even though I wasn't here, I am 100% certain, Mr. Speaker, that the member for Barrie supports small business in her community and across the province, Mr. Speaker, and she also supports a fair society where people can earn a living wage, Mr. Speaker, and can look after themselves and look after their families.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Start the clock. Just calming everything down. Member, sup.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Premier. Shockingly, that wasn't the most ridiculous comment the member made that day. Lawrence Vindham is closing his butcher shop because he can't afford to operate in Liberal, Ontario. And the member from Barrie responds by alleging he is closing his shop and blaming the Liberals. Why? Because he's a progressive Conservative. She believes Mr. Vindham is going out of business because of some grand PC Party conspiracy to blame it on the Liberals. That is absolutely ludicrous. Mr. Vindham is heartbroken because his former employees are without jobs weeks before Christmas. Her comments were disrespectful. They were shameful. Speaker, Mr. Vindham deserves an apology and an explanation. We'd love to hear that right now.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you.
Speaker, we are thrilled that there are small businesses and medium-sized businesses across this province that are thriving, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, there were 100 delegates who travelled with us on our trade mission, Mr. Speaker. There was one young man, his name was Chad Jakeman, Mr. Speaker, and he processes maple syrup. And he went to Vietnam with us, Mr. Speaker. He signed a deal in Vietnam to bring Canadian Ontario maple syrup into Vietnam, Mr. Speaker. That's a small business. And, Mr. Speaker, we are doing everything in our power to support small businesses, Mr. Speaker. We are also working to make sure that the people who shop at those small businesses, Mr. Speaker, the people who are the customers of those small businesses can look after themselves, can feed their families, Mr. Speaker, and can actually go into those businesses in Barrie and across the province and buy the products that those small businesses are selling, Mr. Speaker.
Final supplementary.
Thank you. Back to the Premier. The member from Barrie isn't alone. She might truly believe that businesses should close if they can't afford to operate under your government's policies. Her colleague from Mississauga-Streetsville called the people who feel the impact of Bill 148 bad actor employers. The member for Beaches East York said they need to rethink their business plan. And the Minister of Labour said they should simply raise their prices. It's clear the Liberal policy is to tell business owners in Ontario it's our way or the highway. They don't care about the jobs these businesses provide, and they don't care if these businesses close. Speaker, how many more other Liberal members have told businesses in their ridings just to simply close their doors?
Mr. Speaker, I really believe that underlying underlying this question is another question, and that is, does this member and does this party support a minimum wage, Mr. Speaker, that is a living wage? Do you support $14 an hour, Mr. Speaker? Do you support $15 an hour? Because the reality is, Mr. Speaker, our economy is thriving. Ontario is leading economic growth in the country, Mr. Speaker. Now is the time to increase the minimum wage so that people who are struggling to get by, Mr. Speaker, actually can make ends meet. And I think that it's important that the party opposite make it clear to the people of Ontario whether they support an increased minimum wage or whether they do not support an increased minimum wage.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please.